Okay, back with another YouTube. It's Saturday the 24th of August, so exactly 6 weeks out today, and I thought I'd take you through some sets on legs and, just have an overview of what's gone on this week, the approach this weekend. Like I say, it's a Saturday. I often carb up on a Sunday, but this week I just know I don't need it. So we'll just be pushing on, trying to get down to a new low in body weight, because I haven't hit that for a couple of weeks because I did a diet break, a lot more carbs, last week. This week's just been about, getting that weight back off, starting to really push for that fat loss. That was inevitable, that I wouldn't be hitting a new low until the end of this week, because last week I did purposely fill back out, push my body weight back up a little bit, just to try and slow things down, get a really good week of performance in the gym. And ultimately, I don't want to come in too early, because if you get ready too early, there's no more to come off, so the only thing you can lose from there is tissue, so it's got to be timed right. So yeah, last week was about slowing things down, but now we are really pushing on with fat loss. It's my birthday tomorrow, so we're getting in an early session here today. Ultraflex is very busy on a Saturday. If you're not in early, you will be fighting over equipment. The session does take a while anyway with legs, so in here nice and early, and then we'll be heading up the road to Scotland to obviously spend the weekend with family. And yeah, obviously a birthday on prep, it's not a usual birthday. There's no cheat meal, there's no birthday cake or anything like that. You just got to crack on. For some people, they might, and I understand for some people bodybuilding is like a hobby, but for me, I really don't want to compromise my result in 6 weeks. After 5 years, I want to do myself justice. I want to get on stage at the best I can possibly be, and I don't want to get on stage with any regrets. So even this week, I'm typically, if you've got me on Instagram, you'll see that on a Sunday, most weeks, last week, weekend before that, I've had high carb days. Every Sunday's typically 750 grams of carbs, sometimes 1,000. This week of all weeks, when it's my birthday, I wouldn't be having a cheat meal, but you'd think, oh, maybe, I carb up a bit, have a massive bowl of cereal or something like that. But it's not about that. You've just got to crack on. You've got to do what your body needs. And ultimately, something I understand, and I've understood for a long time, the judges don't care. The judges just judge what's in front of them. They're assessing your physique. They don't know what you did 6 weeks ago. If you did something, you took yourself out of that momentum that you were building with your nutrition and your training, and you splurged, and it maybe impacted your weight loss or your fat loss that week. They don't know that. They just know what's in front of them, and they can only judge what's in front of them. So for me, I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to get up there in 6 weeks with any regret. I want to make sure that I present the absolute best physique I possibly can, and I know that this week I can't compromise on what I'm doing. You have to build momentum when it comes to fat loss. You're not going to get shredded in a week. Sometimes you need to, although I'm having these refeeds to try and protect performance and make sure the muscles don't lose their pop, I know that some weeks I'm going to have to miss out on that. So if I have to do 14 days, 21 days of just low food, then so be it, because condition is probably the most important thing. I'm not the tallest guy, I'm not the widest guy, I've not got the most roundest muscles, but condition is something I can bring, and that's something I'm in control of. So yeah, when it comes to your birthday, you just have to treat it like another day, and that can be celebrated in October after the show. But with that being said, it's time for legs, so I'll get some clips in there and I'll run you through the session afterwards. Okay, that's legs finished. I managed to get 4 exercises filmed, so hamstrings, 2 quad compound exercises and a calf raise. The only things I missed was leg extension and seated calf raise. But yeah, really good session, lots of progressions even at this point in prep, and I hit my lowest weight off prep today, and yeah, still managed to progress things really nicely, so I'm delighted with that. So yeah, I'll add the clips and I'll just kind of walk you through them. So started off with standing hamstring curl. I always like to start off with a hamstring curl because it gets the knees warmed up, as opposed to going straight into a quad compound or even a leg extension at the start. I now do my leg extension further on in the session. It does warm the quads up, but it's also you're contracting against the knee as opposed to opening the knee up, which you do with a hamstring curl. So that's my preference for that. And for most people, hamstrings are a harder area to build, harder area to engage. We can't see them, so I find engaging with quads a lot easier than hamstrings. So I start with those. And the reason I only do one exercise for hamstrings is that I've got a hip shift. I will need to get that addressed in time. So yeah, with that being said, standing hamstring curl is giving me everything I need right now, given I'm doing men's physique. So don't get me wrong, the hamstrings are being worked really well, they're growing, but I don't need to do a second movement right now. With the standing hamstring curl, I go nice and light. You'll notice when I'm doing these, I'm not kicking the weight up, I'm trying to contract and just get to that right angle position. Any further than that, or I get just beyond the right angle, I would say, getting that peak contraction but not excessively going through the range of motion, because at that point there's no tension on the hamstring, having to shift your hip to move the pad any further. So with that, I just come up to right angle, maybe just beyond, pause briefly to really kind of own that contraction, and then I control it back down to a full stretch and then go again. But you can see I'm controlling the change of direction, I'm not kicking the weight up, You know, one side's a little bit stronger than the other, or it was. They've evened out a bit more now, but I do tend to work the right side second. I'll start with the left and then I'll just match on the right leg. So yeah, second exercise is the squat press. So with that, I'm not coming all the way to my chest with my knees because I want to work in my active range. You know, although I am still getting a good range of motion, I'm getting a good amount of knee flexion, I don't go super deep. You can see with that, I'm still getting plenty of movement, but not overdoing it. Now the next exercise that you'll see me do is the Arsenal leg press. Now this is something I've recently added in just because I was getting a bit of knee issues doing my hack squats. So I've added this in. The weight is significantly lighter. With my squat press today, the top set was 370 kilos. With the Arsenal leg press, it's 200 kilos. So with that, I can justify going a little bit deeper, and because of the angle of the foot plate, the angle of the back support, and the support that you're getting in your lower back, I do go a little bit deeper, but it's lighter, it's deeper into the session, I'm very warm. So with that, I do get a nice, you know, deep range of motion with a lot of knee flexion. I look forward to, you know, building on that because it is something I've only been doing for a fortnight now. Moving on from quads, I went on to standing calf raise, which I've filmed here. So yeah, with this, you know, I try and pause in the stretch position, really try and exaggerate that length and range as much as I can, and then I just drive back up. And you notice here I'm not bouncing, I'm pausing at the bottom, pausing at the top, trying to exaggerate those, you know, top points and the bottom point of the rep, just to really tax the muscle without, you know, using too much stretch reflex and momentum. So yeah, it's just really controlled contraction, trying to make a relatively lightweight feel heavy, because I've found with calf training, you know, if you go super heavy, your Achilles is vulnerable, but also you're not necessarily going to feel the muscle work that much. So I go relatively light and I just really squeeze, really stretch, and, you know, try and keep the tension where I want it to be. But yeah, that's it for legs. Really pleased with that session. And you know, as these weeks go by, you know, I might reduce the volume a little bit, but, you know, men's physique, you know, although if you look 10, 12 years ago, the shorts were a lot longer. You know, typically guys would say, oh, men's physique guys don't train their legs, but the class has come a long way and the shorts are getting shorter, and you do have to have well-developed legs. And I'm noticing the judging, especially in the US, I'm noticing the guys are being rewarded for having, you know, really good quad development, being a little bit more proportion than they were previously. I think it looks more like, you know, Arnold, Frank Zane, Serge Nubret, those types of physiques where the legs weren't huge. It's not necessarily an X frame, but the legs definitely, you know, look more in proportion to the upper body. So that's what I'm working towards. When I transition over into off season, I will maybe just do one set for all of these exercises. Today it was mostly two. So yeah, in off season I'll prioritize upper body even more so. But for now, you know, rebuilding my physique, I wanted to get the legs up to a decent standard, and yeah, just moving with the criteria of the class. But yeah, really good session, and it's time to get the post-workout meal in. Today I've got beef isolate, as always, 55 grams. We've got maple syrup, JP cream of rice, probably my favourite flavour of that, and then we've got 200 grams of mango, so 20 grams of carbs from fruit. So yeah, the whole meal, same as last week, not dropped that yet. It's 50 grams of protein and 100 grams of carbs. So yeah, pre and post, pretty much the exact same macros, maybe just a little bit faster having cream of rice post-workout and oats pre. But yeah, overall very similar for now. Still getting a good amount of, you know, carbs in pre and post. Right, so just about to head up on the road. Now I've got a couple meals. I've changed my diet up a little bit because chicken and rice wasn't digesting that great. This is the same macros, but I'm going to use turkey and sweet potato. So I've got 100 grams of veg, 200 grams of turkey, 200 grams of sweet potato, and then this meal is going to be 75 grams of carbs, so I do add 7 rice cakes to that. And then this one I just add 2 rice cakes, just convenient, so I could weigh them together, 200 and 200. So yeah, chicken and rice out, turkey and sweet potato in. Can you tell I'm on low carbs now? Like, starting to get a bit slurred. But yeah, these are my meals for the rest of the day. So I'll do this, bit more carbs, and then this will just get repeated for meals 4 and 5. So turkey, sweet potato, and rice cakes. So that's going to round up the video today, just a short one, but hopefully you get a bit of an insight into the changes I make to my diet when I need to, and obviously leg day as well. But yeah, so thanks again guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.